Alrighty, back at it again. This time I think I can maybe actually, I feel pretty energized right now. So I think I can actually finish the design of the mage. So let me get this spell in. And then on the AoE, I think the AoE abilities are pretty quick. So we're going to go to AoE. We're going to do a new folder. It's going to be fire explosion. Sure. We're going to have a base. And we're going to have a crit. And so we're going to take the tier 3 of this. And move it here. And I don't think there's a crit here. Nope. I'm actually going to just, let's do the update. And we're going to delete this. All these all the lower class AoEs, we're going to do force delete. And then rename this to fire explosion. And then we go to our kit. And what did I do for the kits? Did I change kit names at all? Or did I leave them? I left them. Okay. Kits. So Mage 1 will be, actually, yeah. That's going to be the new ability. So in the kits, hello Dang, how are you doing today? The number 3 is going to be fire explosion. It's already set up. And then I'll go ahead and copy this here. And crit. Crit. Crit 3 is right here. And now we need a new ability. We're going to call it burn. And maybe not burn. What's a different word for sizzle? Scorch ground. We'll do that. Base. And crit. Alright, so this is going to be an AoE. Hitbox is going to be much lower, like 100. Let's do a ground target. And the AoE type is going to be a pulse sphere. It'll be a 10-second duration, and we'll do maybe every tick. Change the VFX to fire. RD. This is probably going to have to be pretty small, if I remember right. Not this. We need Scorch Ground. And we don't need that. Do a value of like 5 to 10. Oh, I didn't add it to the kit. That's the enchanter. I don't want to have that. So this one's going to be the first one, I think. Oh, wait, what? Okay, oh, yeah. Okay, Scorch. Alright, Scorch Ground, here we go. Should be a target select. What? Oh, I know one thing it might be. Telegraph or target helper. Let's pull this from the cleric's heal pickup. Wrong data table. Alright, so I have this. And so we want this to be much smaller. So let's go back to let's do this. Oh, come on. And I might actually have to do... Yeah, let's turn on debugging. I need to, maybe, I'll do it later, whatever. Components. A tiny bit less. Do like 0.75. I'm not gonna focus on this too much because I'm probably gonna change the effect. And then we could probably take off the location offset. If I do 15, does it look like it's floating? Yeah, it does. I wonder if this is anything. That actually kind of looks cool. I kind of have to... it actually kind of looks nice, to be honest. Not terrible. Not terrible. Alright, that ability's done. I'll make the crit version. All right. And then I have fire explosion as, let me make sure um, the names are set. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. And then I need one more area effect of some sort. Let me make sure the other one's working right now. So the other one is R3. It's loading the shaders of it. And for some reason it's loading them incorrectly, but whatever. And this should still do a knockback and snare, which it does. And we're going to make the crit version. So I can just do this. It might load this time properly, but open that up for a sec. Oops. I don't know why it's messing up so much. That's very weird. Something's not loading right with those. Whatever. And so the last thing I want to do with that ability is go to the crit one, and we're going to make this targetable. So this one's going to be a location target and location select. Oh, wrong thing. Is there a target helper? No. Alright, so on the R3. Got that. It's nice and kind of crisp. Oh, I don't think we need it that high. And I can select where it goes. Alright, I put it way too low. I think it's just the VFX that is messing up. Yeah, they hit the wall. Okay. Okay, it's still a little low. Almost there. I just need 0. Is that all it is? Okay, 0 it is. Okay, so one more. AoE. So we have a fireball. What the tier 3 fireball does, the R3 fireball does an AoE burn. So we have that. Then we have a small fire on the ground thing that is good for mobile or like very stationary enemies when you know you're not going to pull aggro. And then one more. There is some of the obvious things in the past. A firewall. Ooh, I know. This isn't quite for the AoE, but on like the buff stuff, I could do something that if you stand in the fire, you get a bonus. Um, yeah, I like that a lot. Let's do that. That can be in here. So, this will be flame, flame, Let's just start with empowering flames. Base and crit. And we're going to take the Scorched Ground as a base. Pop that up there. Change the thing here. And so this is going to be only eligible targets is self. And we're going to do, we'll do a power boost. We'll just do straight power. And we'll do 5 power boost for the first one. Duration, we'll do a long duration. Oh, actually, no, the short duration because you have to stand in it. It'll give you a 3-second duration because it's a duration. Alrighty. Powering flames. We do that. It's going to be a AoE. We'll keep all the other stuff the same. Pulse. Duration. We'll do like every 2.5 seconds. Or maybe every 1 second. Just in case you... Oh, the one thing I will do though is we don't need a location select. We can just do none. And it's going to go under yourself. Direction, location is action or current. And now this is going to go in, I guess, 3 of here. Okay, it's after AoE. This is don't attach. I guess in this case we just want to do a location. Cool. Let's see if it messes up at all if I do a 1 second duration and then a 0.5 tick. Yeah, 2 second duration I think is better. The cooldowns are off. Okay, I'm fine with that. That's kind of cool. I like it. This one doesn't need crit. This one will reset crit. And then the crit is just going to be double the power, 10. Okay, sweet. That's that one done. So then I need my final AoE. So this is all good. This one's all good. So we have an AoE knockback. We have a AoE burn on the ground for stationary enemies. I could do a funny, like a running AoE. That'd be kind of fun. I wonder how I would do that. like a burning steps type thing. So like when you're kiting, they're kind of, you're dropping these flames as you walk back to kite, help you kite. Well, yeah, I really like that. It's basically we'll just call it burning steps. Or like blazing trail. Let's start with, so I think it's mostly going to just be a custom ability that spawns another ability. That applies a dot. Okay. So let's just start. Anything's fine. I'm going to start with this. Copy here. Blazing trail. And so for the most part, we're going to just completely ignore all of this and this. And then the custom. Override. Let's go to the Mage. Is there any overrides here? Probably not. Okay. All right. And now we're also going to do switch on int, switch on int. We'll just do 0 because there's nothing else. Actually, and then master, I do need to see which. Actually, it does it both. It will do both. So it's going to run this code, but it's also going to run the code below it, which is this. So I can do it on 0, and so this is going to be, again, this is, just remind myself, runs on server. And we're going to do spawn actor from class. Action spawner. Get owner. Or get actor location. Let's form. Target actor is nothing. Data table is going to be the new thing we make. It's going to be players. For now, we'll tap into all these. I think it's what's in input, I guess. And this is literally going to be a timer by event. I'm going to do this every second, I guess. We'll start with a 6-second one. And I can actually just start with like burn ground, scorch. Blazing trail. Let's see what happens. Okay, close. So let's go ahead and get scorched ground. And we're going to copy it to blazing trail. And this one's going to be now location. And okay, we don't apply anything yet, so I can do this guy. I don't think there's any difference here, but it's going to be duration. So we'll see if they run through it. They get infected for 5 seconds and a tick of 1 second. and they just take the damage. And put this to resource health, subtract, fire, enemy, negative. And targeting, yep. And over here, I guess we'll do every .25. Cool. Woo! That's actually super fun. And yeah, I think I'm going to do a speed burst on that. That's kind of fun. Why am I getting these errors now? Targeting. Weird. So if I do this, oh, that's just, is it just one of these issues? Is that all it is? Okay. Solved. And what we will do here, oh, we can't do it here. Yeah, maybe we won't do a, I'll save a speed burst type thing. Like, obviously, it'd be really fun to have a speed burst with that. But I'll save that for later with, like, upgrades. That's like an easy win to, like, oh, your boots will replace this with a speed bonus as well. Or add a speed bonus to it. Okay, so that's cool beans. do like .5, .25. Run away. What the? Okay, so this is working. So I might have to ignore that message. Or there's a different fix for this thing. What in the world? It was working a second ago. Oh, did I not fix this? Could that be it randomly? This is so weird. Um, so confused how this thing was working a second ago and now it's not. Table was found. But it is. It's right there. Oh, I accidentally did new row. Somehow I spam clicked this. Brum, brum, brum. Okay, so I guess now we just do this, I guess. And it's all nothing burger. That should get rid of the error, I think. Cool. Alright, now I need to make the crit version. Okay, that's that. And then this guy. Let's make sure it works. I did not set the crit yet. Alright, so let's do the first one. Woo! Burn, burn, burn. I'll have to fix the tick stuff there. Let's do that. We can also turn off the target helper or debugger. Maybe we need it every. I see a bit of a bug. So if I apply this, so as it gets reapplied, it's refreshing the duration and then not applying the effect. So I have to do maybe .75 intervals. And the stat change is every .33. We just put the duration down, the damage down quite a bit. It's not nearly as cool. Try .4 or whatever dots. Yeah, .35 maybe. And then I guess I just have to do just whatever's underneath it. So it sort of is still not hitting faster. So if I do this, okay, that didn't work. It's tick, 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 tick. And see, now it's going faster. Tick, 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 tick. Sorry, dot 5. Dot 5. If I get 2 intervals, it might fix it. So dot 5, dot 5. And then stat change tick is dot 25. So tick, 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 tick. Every time it gets refreshed, there's a slight reset. Now, I used to have it in the stat window, or stat component. But maybe it got, I don't know if it's going to mess things up. So I think I had it so on tick. Yeah, this was used to be the on tick. So let's do on tick, but then we'll look at the value break. If this is resource health current, so only if it's modifying health, we will go down, and I'm just going to redo this because I don't know if I changed anything here. We're going to do the duration, or whatever this is, because that's where it was going before. And we will apply the stat, which is just the damage. And then we'll go through, and I guess we don't do the VFX stuff. So now I think we can go back to what we had before, which is like, I think dot 5 works. And then even if we change this to dot 5, So tick, 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 tick. And it's not changing. Speed's all relevant. Oops. So I'd still like it to be a little faster. It just looks better. .25, .25. And then we're going to change this to .25. This looks way better. And it's still consistent speed, everything. Alrighty, I think that's good. I do need to make sure the crit one does in fact reset crit. And then 1 damage maybe is a little bit not much. Do like 1 to 3 to start. Alright, those ones are done. Final AoE. I have 1 ability left, so 2 is AoEs. 3 was utility, buffs, debuffs. Now 4 is the like long cooldown burst-ish things. So these ones could be pretty fun to do as far as like just big attacks, like almost ultimates in a way. So the first one could be big beam. Hello, Arcsynth. How are you doing? Next one could be like meteors crashing down. And then something big stagger. Pretty good. I'm actually almost done the design work for the Mage. Can do a little review here. So you have your standard auto attacks, but you got 3 different animations here. As you shoot your little wand fireballs type thing. Let me just clear this for a sec. So the Mage starts with the first passive. First class to start with passive. When you crit, you apply a stack of burn. And obviously, every 5 auto attacks, you get a critical ability. That critical ability will do a crit and apply stacks. So that's the idea of we have our fireball. You know, here's our R1 fireball. Just a standard orange ball. Fireball 2. Like a more glowy fireball. And then fireball 3. This one I think is just a giant fireball, and then it does the AoE explosion there. So that's your E key in fireball, and then obviously if you have a crit ability, that's going to be a critical fireball, and it'll apply a stack of burn on whatever it crits against. And so now everything has a passive burn stack. But that passive burn stack can stack up to 20 times. And so your other ability is Bombard. This is one where you're going to be shooting multiple fireballs. They do low base damage, but they all apply a stack of burn. So it's kind of like fireball is your bread and butter, but for longer duration fights, it might be better to, really ramp up your burn. You can see every time you go up with Bombard, which is Q, you get more fireballs, more stacks of burn. And then when you have a crit, you can do a crit Bombard, and that really applies burn. So that's double the burn because it crits and applies burn naturally. So then you have the 10 stacks burn, and then you get into Ignite. So Ignite is just more damage per cast. We'll have to get more mana here. And Ignite is basically your execute spell. So Ignite lets you do a ton of damage based on how many burn stacks are on a target. And so if we load up a target with a bunch of burn stacks, we'll do a couple more. Let's get a big juicy crit here. Add more stacks. And then if we get the Ignite, now we Ignite, and it's going to do big damage. So 425, right? So that's a huge hit in Tearyn. But it requires a lot of investment to get it to hit hard. So that's, and then your shift is obviously your blink, which is just your standard, kind of blink. But if you do use, if you do have ruins and stuff, you actually get a little speed burst as you use it up and stuff. So that's that. I'll just kill this guy. And then your R is actually drain heat. So this is, yeah, I've been really thinking about it quite a bit. Most of the first couple of days was just staring at my Obsidian page. And so now you have, again, it's also I'm breaking down. I always go back to my thesis for design, right? The thesis for design is slow-paced combat and not button mashing abilities. And when you stick to that thesis of design for your classes, well, now you really have to have a lot of intention with what each ability does. You can't just have 3 abilities that deal damage, because at any time your character could have 5 abilities off cooldown. And if everything just does a bit of damage, then everyone's going to min-max which one does the most, and just push that one button. So everything needs to have intention in situational use. And so fireball is your bread and butter, just nuke, right? Q is, okay, if it's a long duration fight, you probably want to, you know, max up your bombard and your stacks. And then ignite is big damage, but you have to invest a lot of time into it to ramp up that damage. And then they obviously all synergize together too. And that goes even more into R, and R is a way to drain heat from enemies. And it doesn't do anything to the enemy, but as you use it, depending on your rotation ruin, you buff up your other abilities. So your R1 will actually basically make your next fireball. You can see it stacks. I call these empowers. And so your next fireball will deal bonus damage. And it goes away once it hits. And the same thing with your other abilities. So now I can, if I'm basically preparing to do another the next one is burn. So maybe I have a bunch of burn on a target, and I really want to maximize my burn damage. I can do an R2 drain heat, and now my burn damage is actually being amplified as well, and that lasts the whole time it's active. And so you see it's off. It was doing 40, and now it should do a little bit less. So now it's half, 20, 20. And so you can have ways to empower specific abilities, and as you might expect, if I really want some giga damage, I can do a huge stack up of burn, and then do an R3 for Drain Heat Ignite, which now empowers my next Ignite spell, and then boom, 568 damage, and it gets rid of the buff. So lots of different ways to kind of empower and not just empower, but prepare yourself in the future for a big kind of burst moment. Because I want the most of your damage coming from being in the right place at the right time, and unloading during stagger moments as well. And so then we have the AoE, and so this goes back to, again, situational use. So Scorched Ground, you can kind of select where it goes, and it's kind of an AoE. It's very small, but it's going to be good damage, but the enemy has to be very stationary. And I'm probably going to tweak the numbers that it actually is very good damage for a single target, but it has a high risk of it might be a higher threat. And so if you're not careful with your threat, it's just going to walk out of it type thing. And then you deal no damage with it. And mana cost and all these things have to be adjusted or whatever. Your AoE R2 or whatever is actually Blazing Trail. And so now you lay aground some fire, and you can do all this stuff. And dealing damage. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun if you're kiting monsters and stuff. And if you the first one was if the target's stationary. Now this one's if it's more, if it's actually moving, especially if I could see that being really used a lot when you're soloing and stuff, and trying to kite things around. And then your R3 AoE ability is actually the one that came with. Now the VFX is goofing off right now, but that's the one I've had for some time. The only change there is now that when you do a crit cast, you can actually choose where it goes now, instead of it being around you. So if the original one was only around you, and the crit cast, you can actually select the ground location of where you put that. And then on 3, you have some just utility stuff. So the first one is fire degradation, and so it lowers the monster's fire resist and giving you more damage and whatnot. The second one here is, I forget what this one is. This one is what? Oh, it's a fire shield. So it's a damage shield. So now if I go over here, and now their enemies are taking damage, and because it was a critical cast, it gets crit damage for the player or whoever it's on. So now it's critting, and it's just a damage shield, fire damage shield, fire mage, makes sense. And you can see it triggering off, your passives trigger off at the bottom there. Respawn. And then the last one I just made was this one's fun too, where again, situational use. If you actually have a team and you can stand still, you can cast your R3, and it gives you a power buff if you stand in the fire. But once you go out of it, you can see it goes away, and you don't have your power. You can even see like, okay, I'm hitting for 13 now, and then it slowly falls off, and now I'm hitting for 10. So, an 8 there. So, kind of gives you that little bit of a, and then if it's a crit cast, you get more. So now I'm hitting for 19, and it's just a raw power buff. So like +5 and +10 per attack. So a lot of ways to just mess with different power values. It's also like I like having casts that don't deal damage. I think that's going to play into a lot of class design, where you're kind of you're taking the time to prepare yourself for bigger burst moments at later stages of the fight and things. And so having these kind of lowering resistances is quite fun. Can you do R again? So R is the drain heat spell. So that is, so in this case it did its drain ignite. So now I have 60 seconds to prepare my ignite, right? So if I do this and then get a bunch of stacks up, now it's got 10 stacks, and now my ignite's empowered. So now if I hit 1, boom, ignite. It was like 400 something damage there, and I expelled the burn, because that's what ignite does. So it basically buffs either your fireball, your burn. Oh, the walking fire thing. Yeah, I actually had a lot of fun just making that a second ago. So that is R2 of the AoE. And so you can imagine in the future, like we'll have a lot of different ways to like modify that. Maybe it gives you speed burst through like talents and equipment. I'm trying to keep my stuff at like a very base level, and then in the future, other effects and things will be layered in. Oh, that might have been R3. This one messes up right now. So like if I could probably just try and fix this. File, save all. Like there's just like a weird glitch with the loading of it. I don't know why. Sometimes it happens. I don't know if it's the assets themselves or what, but oh, that might have been the blue burn. Was it the blue fire one, or was it that big black one? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think this is. So this one is. Sometimes those animations they randomly load, and then once they load like that, they get cached, and then they don't load properly after that. So let me look at. Let me just try and use it and see if it fixes itself. Fixes. Yeah, hold on. Let's see if it works this time. All right, that's what it's supposed to look like. And then, so this is like your AoE knockback. This has been in the game for some time. And that snares them as well. And then the crit one, so this is the fun thing, like that's the basic one. But the crit cast, it's a whole other ability, right? So I can change how it's targeting or targeted. So now I can actually pinpoint with the critical cast of where it goes. I do need to adjust the database. Fire explosion. Let's see if this works. Okay, that's closer to the ground. Try to get it, make sure the effect is a little closer. That's pretty close. And then fix the crit version as well. Oh, okay, so that's why. This one doesn't need that. Because they're different targeting selection points. They have different offsets. So this one is fine. Yeah, that one's fine. And now this one should also be okay. But yeah, so I'm on my last spell, which is also going to be kind of fun. Because I think I'm going to go with just some giga damage abilities, like almost like little ultimates that are kind of fun to use. And so the obvious one's Big Beam. I think of like Inferno from Diablo 2 or 3, whatever. Some sort of meteor crashing down. And then this could be applies stagger. And then something else here. Let's try doing a beam real quick. Do I have a beam channel? Okay. Mage, let's do flame beam, because I don't really want to spend too much time on names. Names can be changed. Crit. Copy here. And now don't think I need this for beams. Hitbox. I don't think I need that for hitbox either. Maybe. It's 50. Targeting. Direction. Action owner. Current. This is going to be channeled. And the appearance. Let's just start with 6 seconds. We have a beam thing or channel. That might work for now. Flame beam. Let's try the enemy target. Channeled. Rotate to target. Socket. Core, maybe. Let's just see what happens with this. So, kit. Okay, and something didn't load. Oh, I didn't set this to 10. All right, well, let's start. going to do what was I trying to do? Oh, I wanted to set the cooldown lower so I can test a bit faster. Obviously, we need to make it look much cooler. Hello, King. How you doing? I'm on the final button for the Mage. So length, let's put this to 1500. And then we'll put the range to 1500. Or like 1450. Let's reload. Alright, so if I'm back here. Okay. Oh my god, look at the update speed. That was a little bit of damage. That might be OP, I don't know. That is a lot of damage. So I need to turn on a limit hits per second. So like 1 per second. Tick, tick, tick. Yeah, and I think I'm going to keep the force. It's like I could let people, like it does snap, right? My beam code snaps to targets. So I could technically let people control that. It doesn't feel too bad, actually. As like a tab target thing, right? Like it's like sort of aim, but it's like it's pretty obvious what you're trying to hit. And then if you need to cancel, you can cancel. Yeah, honestly, I'm fine with this. I'm totally fine with this. And like it's gonna probably be like a 5 or 10 minute cooldown ability. Like it's gonna be like a, use your ultimate to burn the thing down type ability. And we just need to like obviously make the effect look way better, and then have some really cool sound design with it. And even like this animations from Vertical Third itself, it's actually not that bad. I know the Paragon assets do have. Yeah, I really like my snapping code right now. It actually feels really good in like the tab target. So I'm actually gonna see how people even think about the ability and how it feels, just as it is. I don't want to change much because it kind of feels good to me. I will update this a little bit more. So like we'll do a hit every 0.5 seconds to make it feel a little bit more OP. Oop, let me go back down to 1. Oh, did I set the wrong thing? Something's not quite right there. So if you snap, unsnap, it's there's a bit of, you might miss a tick of it, right? And so it does. Now there is something strange going on. Duration, update speed, length, piercing. It's supposed to be resetting every, like if I put this, is it maybe 3? That wouldn't make sense. Oh, okay. Hits per second. Okay. So I need to put this to 2 if I wanted 2 hits a second. So now that makes it snappier. So now if I do it, it's checking every, half second. But yeah, at tap target space, this is actually feeling quite nice. And like obviously it also like at the moment it's it'll be anything in front of you, right? Through upgrades and things. I can literally, like, piercing for my code is just a tab. It's literally just a checkbox. So now I can make it pierce. But the single target version feels fantastic right now. So crit ruins, they're basically sometimes like I'm still like figuring out the full mechanics. I'm trying to because you have 8 abilities, right? You have 8 buttons on your bottom bar, and that's what we're limiting you to. Because of our rotation ruin system, just by default, that is up to 24 abilities. When you include critical abilities, that can actually be up to 48 abilities. And so I'm trying to have a little bit of the mindset to reduce the mental load and potential 3 crafty craziness of builds. Is you have a base ability and then you have the crit version of that ability, but that crit version can change in numerous ways. Like the enchanter can have a warrior pet, and then the critical ability of that warrior pet is a better warrior pet with different weapons, different visuals, all those things. For for my area effect knockback, the default one is just around yourself, but the crit one you can actually ground target and select. And so now I can select it over here. Whereas if I cast it without crit, it's only going to be around myself. Like here, only around myself. So there's the what makes a ruin crit is, so crit is generated through 5 auto attacks right now. It's a little bit different per class. How you generate crits, well, how you rotate through your ruins will differ through classes. But right now it's every 5 auto attacks. So it's that idea of I want you to just kind of sit there and potentially do nothing but auto attack. But it gives you something to do when you're just sitting around waiting for stuff. So like if I use my crit here, gets used up, and now I'm auto attacking. And so this is where you auto attack, and you want to make sure you're in a good position, and AKA behind the target. And now you can do, I'm out of mana right now, but then you could do your big crit ability that you wanted. And right now, different classes can rotate through their ruins differently. Like the enchanter and the cleric, they can sit and med in order to rotate through their ruins. I'm not enabling that for the mage just yet, because they're more damage-oriented class. So, yeah. And so now I can, go back and, do my big fireball and go kaboom, and then big damage, Yeah, I'm actually kind of super impressed by. I was thinking I was going to have to do a lot of extra work because I haven't touched beams. You don't, in like a lot of so-called. You don't see them used too often in more MMO-styled games. And so, yeah, okay, beam's done. I'm gonna make the crit version, and obviously, like I said, I'm doing a design phase of everything first, and then I will go back and do a bit of the animation work and the VFX stuff later. But it feels very, when I'm using that beam, it feels very tap target. It's like, oh, I'm pointing at something, and it's locked on. It's not really aim based at all, and so it feels really good. All right, so that's those done. Big beam. Meteor crashing down. Meteor kind of suggests AoE. I don't think I really want super AoE. Gara. Projectile, fire. Should I turn a water one into something fire on looking? Not really. Let me think. Dark sphere. What is this one? Just trying to like. Sometimes I look through my animation effects for like inspiration on what abilities I could do. Because sometimes the. Oh, that could be interesting if I change it to fire. If like a fire wisp attack. Yeah, let's go with this. What's magma? Did I look at this one? I could do. I wonder what that looks like when it's used. Just copy fireball. Call it fire wisp for now. Let's just see what this magma projectile looks like. I use it. Oh, I didn't set up the kit. I always forget that. Kit 02. Ooh, that does look nice. That's got some epicness to it. And maybe it does a big, like a super big burn on the target. Okay, that one's done. Fire Wisp. This is actually going to be like, not Fire Wisp, we'll do Magma. Magma Ball. That sounds weird. Magma Sphere. Magma Orb. There we go. Magma Orb. Okay, and this one is going to... So we have the bulk damage, and then we'll do the dot. Magma Orb. Dot. So I'm just going to increase the damage to like, I don't know, something super high, like 60 to 100. And then the dot. Make sure the other tags are off. Magma Orb. This one's going to be a tick. I'm making a ton of these weird spiders in my room. We'll do like 10 to 20 with a, yeah, 10 to 20. Even higher, 15 to 30. 15 to 20. Duration. Okay. And let's just like emphasize the fact it's this big orb. We're going to go down to, I don't need this. The projectile. We're going to put the speed down to like half the speed. And then we'll do the size, maybe double the size. Boom. Oh, resist. Son of a. Boom. How long has this taken? So it's a bit of a trick question because previously from 2019 to 2022, we created something called Vertical Third. It's a massive game architecture. We actually got $100,000 in awards from Epic Games through their Epic Mega Grant program for that tech. And we created that tech with the mindset in the future of one day making an indie MMO. And so we spent 3 years building that, and then we launched it in 2022. Did some updates, obviously, to it since then. We also worked for Epic Games after that, which kind of took up a lot of our time. And so in 2024, at the very end of it, like November, December, we decided to start Ruins of Tearyn. And what we started with is basically just skinning our tech with marketplace assets. And we chose Cinti Studios and some other stuff to just get going. And so we did our announcement trailer kind of type thing in January, and then we were on the Unreal Engine live stream talking about Ruins of Tearyn, like 3 or 4 months after we started the project, and that is when kind of like this is how long the project's been around for. So it's like kind of the start of 2025, effectively. So the project itself has only been around for like a year and a half ish, but you know we have a whole bunch of systems and stuff already made that took us 3 years to build prior to it, and Vertical Thread is something we sell on Fab right now. But within 3 months, we had an online playable playtest. I think our first playtest was either March or April of 2025, even though we started the project 3 months prior to that. Oh yeah. Dot. Tick, negative, subtract, whatever. Show. This is magma orb. Even though I don't need a UI thing for this right now, I'll get one. It's as good as any. And then I don't need this one. Okay. So now we have I need to choose the name. I probably will do, we're going to increase the chain to 1. And just so we can add another V effect. And so this is going to be, next set is 1. This is not going to be, well, I guess we'll just do AoE, whatever. The stat change index is going to be -1. Appearance. I think there was one of these jellies things. It's an impact. I think this is the matching one. Sure. That looks dope. I can lower the explosion effect here. Hopefully it's set up properly. Okay, this sprite. Okay, let's make this duplicate magma orb. Explosion. Gonna divide by 2. Divide by 2. Okay. Alright, I can fine tune that later. That's good enough. Magma orb is complete for design. Alright. Gotta make the crit version now. Okay, one final ability to go. I think I'm going to do something with Fire Wisp. But what is... so we have a beam. We have a magma orb, which this is going to be the stagger thing. And then Fire Wisp is what? This could just be a big... Maybe I take the dot away from the magma orb. And I call this like Fire Wisp Haunting. And this is just a big damage dot. That's what I'm going to do. So we're going to take off the dot. And then on these magma orbs, I can add the stagger here. Stagger. Like, sure, let's do like 80 stagger. Actually, we'll do 40 and 80. Okay. And now we'll do the Fire Wisp Haunting. And we'll just go ahead and take the magma orb as a base. And this, we'll just put ridiculous stats. 15, because I'm gonna figure out balancing later. Alright, we're gonna go here. I think it's one of these two. Yeah, we're gonna duplicate this guy. So, keep in mind the Epic Mega Grant stuff. It does take a time. You want to treat it like a publisher and apply. Um, they're harder to get now than they were before, because when I got them, they were still kind of in. They still had like massive levels of Fortnite money. Um, and the program was relatively more new, right? So as far as I'm aware, a lot of the money that they have available. So they started with $100 million fund to give out to people, but that was probably back in 2018, 2017. Um, they do love TV show stuff, so just treat it like a publisher. Make a nice pitch deck. Any type of content you have. The current app, they open the application twice a year, and so there's a window to apply. So and like the next application to submit is coming up. So now is a good moment to make sure you have your stuff ready. And so when the next one comes up, you can actually you can start thinking about applying. But treat it like a publisher type thing. Um, what is this even? You can't even see anything from it. There has been TV shows and things that have gotten it, and like even theater productions and a lot of those things. And another thing I can do with this one that makes it feel a little bit more unique is targeting. Why do I have that there? That's weird. Target lock actor. We'll start it from the target actor location. We'll slow down the projectile speed to like 250, and then make it spawn above the target. So like 1500. But yeah, I would just prepare your stuff, and any information you have, a website, YouTube video content, pitch decks, like all those things can really help you. Um, like I have Ruins of Tearyn submitted because I had pitch decks already done and all that stuff for Ruins of Tearyn. Oh, did I do the wrong direction? It needs to be 1500, not negative. Alright, we can slow it down some more, like 25, and maybe only 500 above. And slow it down even more. 1. No, I don't understand what's going on with the oops. The visuals are kind of jacked. What's up with that? I don't know if I need any of this. Okay, and now I wonder if I go the scale and do -2. Does that reverse it? Because I kind of want the opposite way. Yeah, cool. Wasn't quite fast, I don't think, so it's a little glitchy. But it works. I can still slow it down even more, though. Alright, too slow. Getting there. That was a decent speed. 250 above. Yeah, there we go. It's kind of neat. It's different. And then let's just try and find some sort of what's the jelly impact here? Yeah. Take this guy. What's this one? It's just recolor. Nah. This guy, duplicate, fire, wisp, haunting. Ah, okay. Um, Dog 60, pretty freaking dope. Okay. So close. Beautiful. Alright, so our 4 is our big cooldown stuff, which is just different ways of doing big damage. The R14 is a beam. You can see, like, even though it's tap target game, it's locking on. And then you have your R2, which is your magma bomb, magma orb. And that's going to apply a bunch of stagger. You can see it did. And then you're going to have your ghost, your fire wisp, which is just a big damage over time with a little bit of thematic difference. So it's haunting it and dealing damage. And so I'll have some like they're all going to do different damage and stuff. Like the beam, maybe it's better if you have a clear line of sight something. I'll have to like find the identity to all those and why they're different, why they're good or whatever. But they're just thematically different from each other and interesting, and I like that. And I want them to have when I get to the kind of VFX stage of everything, we're gonna have a good, really good feel to them all. Okay, quickly throw in the crit version. of Fire Wisp Haunting. Copy here. And I did it. The Mage design work is complete. Yay. I'm actually super happy with how the Mage turned out. And if you're when I say done, it's complete stuff. That's just for this month. This month's design session for classes. And so the past few playtests have largely been about systems, our combat system, our Registry of Chronicles, and then our camp system. And the classes have been untouched for some time. And so this is my big push this month to get all of the classes kind of initial conceptually put in with the new action combat system, or the not action combat system, the rotation ruin system. And I think it's kind of coming out pretty awesome. And you'll be able to playtest this month from the 28th to the 31st. Which means I need a haul ass to get the other two classes in. Hopefully I will have... I'm going to pause here, and I'll probably try and knock out the... I think, honestly, most of the animations and VFX stuff are pretty good already, at least the projectiles and things. I just have to touch up some of the animations. They're pretty solid right now. I just need to have a bit more finesse on some of them. And some timing differences and things. So, yeah, we made ourselves a mage. He was looking pretty cool. So just a little mage review. Actually, I'll do the mage review later because it's not even done yet. We'll wait till I'll do a big review with the effects and stuff. I'm going to save all. And that's it for me for now. I'm going to be back a little bit later. I'm going to take a break and get some food. I might do a little bit of rowing on my machine. And in general, just take a break. So it was a good hour and a half, 2 hour and a half session, almost 3 hour session, finishing off the design work. The initial design pass can take a while, whereas the animation and VFX can go a little bit faster. So hopefully we'll have at least the mage done by today or tomorrow. I'm hoping I finish the visuals and stuff. And yeah, we're looking good. It's gonna be a fun playtest this month. I'm really excited for it. And just seeing how people really kind of dig into the combat system. It feels very unique and different. It's something new in MMO combat, which I'm very excited about. It's hard to be able to say that I made something new in the MMO combat experience, but I have, and you know, we'll find out if it ends up being good or bad. Well, I don't know yet, but it's a direction, and there's a lot of potential to it. It's not perfect, and we're gonna have a lot of fun fine-tuning it and seeing how the future systems work with how you modify your abilities and things. So, very excited, and I hope you guys come around and play test this month. And you'll probably see me streaming more development later today, and I'll work on the VFX and animations. So,